Jun-san.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. Now is 2 p.m. o'clock, and I will introduce your session and start later. Okay.
Okay, let's start.
就是这一场议程是那个 Jun 赏带来的 Novel Online Communication Tools，就是他们因为那个疫情的关系，所以做了一个开发工具，然后他们就会来介绍这个开发工具是怎么使用的这样。然后那Jun 赏 you can start your session.
Okay, let's get started. Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to share. I'm very happy to have an fascinating opportunity on sharing my idea with you. But I'm feeling slightly unhappy because now I am not in there. And sharing the same atmosphere with you. Today, I have to share my. I have to provide my talk via online. So I hope next year, I will be there, and I'd like to enjoy very yummy Taiwanese food and your good atmosphere and your interesting cultures. Okay, let's get started. Um, before starting my talk, let me introduce myself. I am Jun Iio. Iio is I understand Iio is slightly difficult to pronounce for foreign people, so please call me Jun. I am a professor at Chuo University, Tokyo, Japan, and I am a board member of HCDNet. HCD stands for Human Centered Design. Now I'm working as a professor at Chuo University, but before moving to university, I was working for Mitsubishi Research Institute for about 20 years, from 1994 to 2013. Right now, I am a faculty of Global Informatics of Chuo University. My major is I am interested in the interaction between human and the information systems, especially in user interface or usability and something like that. My major is user interface, image processing, software engineering, social informatics, and so on. Today's topics of my talk, I'd like to introduce you two novel communication tools developed by myself. One is OLiVES. OLiVES stands for Online Virtual Events Support System. The second one is DiaLogBook. DiaLogBook is similar to the name of DiaLogBook is very similar to Facebook, but it's totally different applications. The DiaLogBook is the communication system between teachers and students. It's a kind of SNS, social network services between teachers and students. So that means the DiaLogBook is designed for to be used in the schools, online school, especially in online school. As you know, right now we have to use online tools for school activity because due to the COVID-19, we have to we cannot conduct face-to-face lectures in our campus. Our campus is now lock out every student, so we have to use these tools to communicate with students and among students and the teacher and between teachers and the students. Both of them, OLiVES and DiaLogBooks, are built based on ROR. ROR is Ruby on Rails, and both of them are open to public and as open source software. That's because I'd like to introduce these two tools in this event. Okay, next slide. Firstly, I'd like to introduce the OLiVES. OLiVES stands for Online Virtual Event Support System, as I mentioned previously. URL is right here, https://olives2020.hierarchical.com. The feature of OLiVES like this. It has session management for event organizers. It is designed aimed at to manage online event smoothly. So especially for event organizers, it can be used very efficiently. And second feature is my page function for users is my page function for participants to virtual event in virtual events. Also, it offered session recommendations. Main reason why I'd like to develop this system was if the events not non-virtual event, real events has something the idea something like serendipity. That is if you are please imagine that you are going to participate in a real event like COSCUP 2020. You are walking around the building, and you can see the classrooms where the discussion is going on, a seminar or event, something like that, and you can see there are very the discussion is actively conducted. So you from if you see such situation, you will consider, oh, it's very interesting, and I'd like to drop in at the discussion classroom or something. So it means the kind of serendipity. But if the event was conducted online, we cannot feel such feeling. There will not any serendipity. So to fill such a gap, I considered there needed some recommendation function implemented similar to that implemented in EC system, Amazon or Amazon Rakuten, like something like that. Next, I'd like to explain the situation of development and operations with OLiVES. I planned to develop one. I planned the development of OLiVES within only 1 week, and I developed it also within only 1 week. As I mentioned previously, I used Ruby on Rails and with several gems. Gem is a library system in Ruby ecosystem. For example, device for user management, and Bootstrap gem for the state-of-art style, and Rails ERD gem for drawing an ER diagram. After the completion of development, I deployed it to Heroku with a free plan account. It is sufficient if you'd like to use these small system. It's okay to use Heroku within a free plan. There is only one problem, that the system sleeps without any access during the 30 minutes. So we have to access every 30 minutes if the application, if you prevent from application sleeping in a Heroku with the free account. And this is an example of screenshot of OLiVES. As you can see, there is 3 events. OSC to the 2020 online Tokyo, and next one is OSC 2020 online at Nagoya. And the top one, the event located at the top of this list shows the fiscal year 2020 HCD conference held online. As you can see, we have already used the system for these 3 events, these 3 online events. If you click this, these titles are clickable, and if you click this link, you can move the screen to. Oops. You can move the screen to okay. To explain the example, to show the example of screens. I'm sorry. Before the showing screen, let me explain the idea of data structure. Data structure is very simple enough, because these events have hierarchical structure. That means the event contains several days. For example, this COSCUP event has 2 days, and every day has many tracks, multi-tracks, like this COSCUP, and each track has several slots. Slots mean the session. The reason why I used the name slot instead of session, because the name session is reserved by device gem, and it conflicts, and it resulted in some errors. So I have to the name slot instead of session. And many sessions have presentations like this. Okay. This is an example of hierarchical data structure model like this. Next slide. This is the ERD, entity relational diagram, made by Rails ERD gem. Like this. Conference has several days, and the day has several tracks, and the track has slots, and each slot has presentations. Also, it contains user data and the information of participation. Participation means the connection between users and the slots. That means the one user participated in some slot, so we have to keep the information of who is going to join the session. The participation keeps such information in one table. Okay. Here is an example of event timetable like this. This is the case of HCD conference, like this. And you can click the link of day. If you click this link, the screen is going to move to like this. Saturday, 6 June 2020, from 9:30, started by greeting of event organizer, and like this, and the timetable has a link to session information. The screen shows the details of the session information like this. Here is an example of session description like this. As you can see, these three screens are shown without any login procedures. That means you can see login button and the sign up link in the top of screen. To use this system efficiently, it requires the registration of users. But without registration of users, this system can be used to provide the online event information, such as conference timetable and the session information like this. After you sign up or logged in this system, you can see, you can access for your own My page like this. This is my page. This shows the Jun Iio's My page like this. And these lists show the list of sessions which was registered by myself. Registration is simultaneously conducted like this. So you can check this session, then this session. I'd like to join. I'd like to hear access the session. So you have to see. You have to do is checking these checkboxes. These two screens for administrators of course, this system has functions to manage the information of conference details and the slot the details of day information, slot information, session information like this. So if the user have permission to edit data, they can access this administration screen, and they can put the information into the database and edit, or also they can edit or delete the information. Here you can see the edit button, edit link, or delete link like this. Next, I'd like to explain about recommendation for sessions. I hired the item-based collaborative filtering. Collaborative filtering is if I'd like to try the brief explanation of item-based collaborative filtering like this, about product one. It was bought by customer number two, and I'm sorry, product one was bought by customer number 4 and customer number 7. Also, product number 5 was customer number 2, customer number 4, and customer number 7. From the fact of this relation, we can imagine product number 1 is suitable for also customer number 2 from the pattern of buying behavior. This is a very short description of the idea of item-based collaborative filtering. So I implemented this idea, this algorithm within an OLiVES to recommend similar sessions for the convenience of participants of online events. Here is an example of a recommendation like this. As you can see also like here, and the three events, the list of 3 events like this. This information is a recommendation for the session. Here is the data of registrations after the first event. First event means the OSC Tokyo. I asked to the participants of the event to register the system and use the system effectively. That's because if the any user, if no user use this system, the recommendation system doesn't work. So I asked them to register their accounts. There after my after the events, I counted the number of users. So 40 users have used this system. And also I count the session registrations. 264 registrations are found at that time. Next graph is registrations as of now. Yesterday I checked the data, so the number of users was increased to 103, and also number of session registration is counted as 611 and 11. This is the bar chart to the histogram of distribution of the number of session per users. It's me. This is 30 about 30 registration per user. It's me because I registered all 3 events, and I registered many sessions. I conducted some evaluation of system by preparing the link to a questionnaire form provided by Google Form. Questionnaire, the link here, and I asked to evaluate the system for some users. Uh, 41 respondents, 41 members, 41 users responded to the questionnaire. The questionnaire has very few questions. The first question was the first question is, was the usage of the system easy to understand or not? That means that to evaluate the usability of the system. The second one is the system effective to online events or not? This question asks the efficiency. The third one was, do you need such a recommendation function? It asks the meaningful or meaningless of the recommendation system. This is the result of the first question. Many respondents answered, this is good. This system can be used very easy. The operation of this system was easy to understand. That's good. The next bar chart showed the effectiveness of the system. Also, many respondents answered it preferable. It's also good. The last one is not so good, but some respondents answered it. Yeah, it is not the recommendation is they don't need. They consider that the recommendation is not preferable. like this. Okay, I'd like to move on the next system, DiaLogBook. DiaLogBook is a novel communication tool between teacher and students. Of course, we have several learning management systems, LMS. However, the current LMS is current LMS is so generalized that they don't have sufficient usability from some point of views. That means they offer the current LMS offered many features, so it is very complicated to use. So we need a simple communication tool. Then I decided to develop such simple communication tool like DiaLogBook. DiaLogBook is a simple SNS-like message communication system, and it has several features like this. Each student has his own or her own page. It is similar to the timeline in Twitter or Facebook. Everyone posts his message or her message to any page. Important feature is teacher can check update of the student page to answer the student voice quickly. Also, I added a rubric-based self-evaluation function, but this function is right now experimentally implementation. Here is an example of teacher's page. This broad button, because this is a screenshot of a real system I am using right now. So this screen contains the private information that there are many students' real name. So I blurred I put some mosaic like this. Yellow one is they have a new message posted, and the gray one is I have already checked. I'd like to explain the development and the situation of development and operations with DiaLogBook, like I previously explained that with OLiVES. I planned this development within only one day, and also I developed it within 1 week. Also using Ruby on Rails, Device Gem for user management, and Bootstrap for current design, and Administrate Gem for data management, and so on. Similar to the OLiVES previously mentioned, I deployed the DiaLogBook to Hierarchical with a free plan, and really, right now I used for my math class of this semester. Just I previously show you the screenshot of the using DiaLogBook. We are now planning to use tele-learning. Tele-learning means in a cooperation with the English teacher in my university and some high school teacher, we are now planning to provide some English communication method between Japanese student and Taiwanese student in cooperation with some high school located in Kaohsiung. We are now planning to provide some English communication teaching, English communication education between Japanese student and Taiwanese student using some telecommunicating tools like Google Meet or Zoom and WebEx and something like that with this DiaLogBook system. We asked the student to keep the record for the conversation between them by Japanese student and Taiwanese student. So after the education was conducted, we will analyze the data recorded in this system. So in that sense, we have to provide a new communication tool to get some records of communication. Okay, let me conclude my talk. I developed two novel communication tools, OLiVES and DiaLogBook. OLiVE is the online event support system, and DiaLogBook is the communication tool similar to the SNS, but they focus on the communication between teacher and students. Two applications are created based on Ruby on Rails, so I could implement them very quickly within only 1 week. And finally, I'd like to emphasize the very important point: the source code of OLiVES and the DiaLogBooks are published as open source software, so that all of you can join us to improve them, or you can use freely to your event management, or if there are teachers. You can use the DiaLogBook with the communication for the communication between you and your students. Please don't hesitate to contact me. Here is an contact information like this. My email address is iiojun@aol.com. Please contact me if you can use these two communication system. Okay. Thanks for your attention.
Hi, thank you for all your attention. And now we'll collect questions from this session. Do you have any questions? OK、そうですね。イオさんですね。
はいはい。
はいはい。ありがとうございました。そうですね。このスライドのように、この2つのプロジェクトのソースコードが、公開されていると 書いていますが、このレポジトリの、URL などをご提供いただけませんか？
はい。ですね、ちょっと今、
みんながちょっと気軽くアクセスできるように、はい。もしご提供いただければ。
はい。ですね、ヘロクの JIT のレポジトリをコピーしてもらうのがいいと思うんですね。
そうです。
はい、
あるいは、この終わってからスライド、あるいは、
はい。わかりました。
いただければと。
はい。じゃあ、そうします。
はい、はい、お願いします。
はい。
では、还有没有其他问题？没有。では、現場はもう問題がないようですので、このセッションを終わようと思います。
はい。
そうですね。伊尾さん、ありがとうございました。没有，我就叫他把那个 report 贴上去，放那个。
お疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様でした。
はい。はい、セッションが終わりましたので、このルームを、退席していただいてもよろしいですか？すみません。はい。ありがとうございました。では、太田さんはいらっしゃいますか？
太田さんは今はちょっといないです。で、次のセッション、15時からかなのセッションが、
そうですね。
そうですね。キャンセルになっているので、
そうですね。ここで一つ相談したいことがあります。まず、ここからのセッションは、キャンセルしたみたいなので、この後のセッションは4時から15分くらいクローズイントークを、していると思いますが、今はその前のセッションがキャンセルしていたので、そして4時からは、実はここの多分ライトニングトークという、そして
そうなんだ。
クロージングに移しようと思いましたので、もし可能であれば、この
クロージングを、
15分くらい、前にシフトしてもいただけませんか？
全然大丈夫
です。そう、15時45分くらいから。
15時45分？
そうですね。
OK です。
では、お願いします。
了解です。クロージングは僕がやります。
はいはい、よろしくお願いします。今日一日お疲れ様でした。
はい、ありがとうございました。ではまた後で。
お願いします。